Hello and good morning, everybody. Welcome to Elite Weather Forecasting. My name is Mr. G. I'm your meteorologist. I'm a student at Mississippi State University, majoring in meteorology and environmental geoscience. And we're going to be talking about the weather forecast for you today. As you all know, that I've been tracking some storms that's been moving across the country. Our current storm we're seeing moving across the U.S. right now is mainly affecting the Eastern U.S. We're seeing heavy rain and thunderstorms from Florida all the way up the northeastern seaboard to the northeast and the mid-Atlantic states. We're seeing heavy rain from Boston all the way down the coast, down to Florida. Well, we're currently talking about severe weather down across the state of Florida and the southeastern U.S. We're seeing the snow across the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest down to the Central Plains as well. So we got heavy snow and blizzard conditions for much of the Central U.S. and the Midwest, and our severe weather again down to the south. Now this here, what we're showing you is I want to show you some of the thunderstorms that are taking place across the state of Florida. This is North Florida, Gainesville, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Savannah. You can see Savannah there on the map, Savannah, Georgia. So southeastern Georgia and northern Florida. And we have a big line of thunderstorms. We actually have a couple of significant lines of thunderstorms right now that is moving from the west to the east, and with a more like a northeasterly track. And you can see this line of thunderstorms here, and you can see we have a tornado watch currently and a flash flood watch. Watch is in effect across this area as well. You can see there's lots of lightning. I don't know if you can see the lightning strikes showing up on the map in the camera, but there's definitely lots of lightning, very heavy rain. We're looking at 1-inch diameter hail just to the north and east of Tallahassee. Tallahassee is currently being steamrolled right now by this line of storms. It's going to make its way into Gainesville shortly and Jacksonville. And we're going to be seeing those storms arrive there within the next couple of hours. In Savannah, Georgia as well. Be prepared, be ready for this line of storms. You're going to have two bouts of severe weather to go through, because we have the second line of severe thunderstorms that appears to be moving more toward the north and the northeast. But we have this one here that has a little bit more forward progression to it. But we're going to zoom in to the map closer so that you can see a little bit more of the details and the size of the hail and the direction that the storm is moving as well. So we're zoomed into the Tallahassee area right now. You can see Tallahassee right here. And they just had a line of storms that the heaviest part of the storm just rolled through Tallahassee right now. And you're on the backside of that storm with still a lot of heavy rain, but a little bit better conditions than when you were going through this main part right here, where we have 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We're seeing that east-northeast track here as these little boxes indicate the storm's direction. You can see that right there. You can see that direction. Look at this line here. So we can see that we have these storms moving at a forward pace of about 55 miles per hour with 70-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch diameter hail. So 3/4 inch to 1-inch diameter hail is also radar indicated with these storms as well. So we can see we have this tornado watch in effect. You can see that line there. These indicates tornado watches, and that's currently being posted for North Florida and southern Georgia right now, as we have this dangerous line of thunderstorms that heading toward the east-northeast across North Florida. So this will be approaching Jacksonville and Savannah in about an hour to an hour and a half, as these are very fast moving thunderstorms. So it's going to be fairly quick hitting. So you're going to see a brief break, maybe for a half hour. Then another line of thunderstorms may come through afterwards. So we're going to see these lines of thunderstorms throughout at least the first half of your day before things begin to settle down after the front passes later on today. So again, a very dangerous storm headed your way with 75 miles per hour winds, 1-inch diameter hail, very heavy rainfall. As you can see, that heavy rain and hail there. So a big storm is on the way to East Florida, Northeast Florida, Jacksonville, Savannah, Florida, Gainesville as well. It's going to be approaching Gainesville within the next 5 to 10 minutes. You're going to be seeing, you probably can hear the thunder in the distance because these storms are packing very frequent, very dangerous lightning as well. So there's lots of lightning associated with these thunderstorms as it's moving, making their way to the east, northeast. And you can see that it's indicating that 1-inch diameter hail. You can see that 1.0, that's the size of the hail that's falling from those storms. So we got 1 inch, 3/4 to 1-inch hail. So a very significant thunderstorm moving across North Florida. So let's move around and take a look at other areas that's being affected by this major winter storm today. Okay, so now we're looking at North Georgia here and parts of South Carolina and Tennessee as well. We have Atlanta here where we're seeing those showers and thunderstorms moving through that severe weather. That severe weather is currently headed across Georgia as well and headed into South Carolina, and we're going to be seeing that severe weather affect parts of Kentucky, Tennessee. We're going to be seeing that severe weather. As you can see, those thunderstorms headed off toward the north and east there. We have a tornado watch in effect as well over here over eastern Georgia. So we can see all of this activity moving at about 50 to 60 miles per hour is the forward speed of all of these thunderstorms with 3/4 inch and 1-inch diameter hail. So again, even across central and north Georgia, we're seeing that 1-inch diameter hail. We have winter severe weather advisories, tornado watches, severe thunderstorm warnings in place right now. We're seeing frequent lightning again, even in this area, lots of lightning with these thunderstorms. This is a very serious line of thunderstorms. Now, mind you, even after this line of storms pass, it's still going to remain showery on the backside of the storm. You'll notice the temperatures drop a little bit and the wind will change direction, where we're seeing more of those winds coming from the south and the southwest. You'll notice those winds change from to the west, northwest. It's going to get noticeably cooler and feel a little bit drier as well, but you're still going to have some scattered showers on the backside of that frontal boundary once it passes. But we're dealing with those severe thunderstorms, so very heavy rain over eastern and northern Georgia. That includes Atlanta, Macon, and all the way over to Greenville, South Carolina as well. So get ready. If you're not seeing them already, you should be seeing those thunderstorms coming up from the southwest of your area. So be prepared to button down the hatches and head for cover when these thunderstorms move over your area, because we are dealing with a lot of severe thunderstorms today. A very active pattern out there across the Eastern U.S. and the Northeast. Those storms that rain is extending all the way into the Northeast and into New England. So we're going to zoom out on the maps now and show you just how extensive this rain shield is and all of these thunderstorms. And we're going to show you some of the snow that's taking place as well. Okay, here's a look at the Eastern U.S. and that big storm that we're dealing with here. This is from Florida, from all of the Gulf Coast, the Gulf of Mexico, across the state of Florida, and into the southeastern U.S. There are still tornado watches and warnings in place. We have flood warnings in place, flash flood watches, flash flood warnings. We have all modes of severe weather that's taking place. We've seen numerous tornadoes already. We've seen damaging wind reports. We've seen hail. I've seen video footage of some of the tornadoes and footage of the large hailstones out there, the damaging wind events. This is a very, very significant storm system. Look at all the snow across the northern part here. There's our deformation band to the north. You're looking at that snow across the Midwest here, Des Moines, Iowa. Here we're seeing heavy snow at this time through parts of Omaha, Nebraska. Minneapolis, unfortunately, well, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your mindset, as far as winter weather is concerned, if you're in Minnesota, we pretty much dodged the bullet. We've gotten maybe a half-inch of snow out of this overnight last night, so we got brushed by it. So our winterless winter continues. So here across the upper Midwest. But you can see how these clouds here, how you can see it's coming from the north now. That's going to be the beginnings of opening the door for the polar vortex to come down and really finally bring some wintry temperatures, where we're going to see those temperatures around zero to the negative single digits and double digits. So as we get to the middle, closer to the middle of the month, toward the latter half of the month, we're going to get a stretch of very, very cold weather where we're going to feel those frigid temperatures across much of the country. We're going to get a big slap in the face compared to what we've been used to this winter. But again, this huge storm, this rain shield, this precipitation shield is huge. This warm air advection coming up from the south, we're seeing temperatures in the 60s and 70s out ahead of the storm. Check out the altostratus clouds in the upper levels in the over the Atlantic out there. That's indicative of the instability with this storm system. So we're seeing all of that severe weather with all those tornadoes and things. So a very active day today. I'm doing a lot to track the weather today and the forecast. Now over here to the northwest, this is the Pacific Northwest and the Northern Rockies. This is the next storm that's going to be traveling coast to coast as we head through the end of this week and into the next weekend. We're going to be talking about this storm. So we're seeing rain in the Pacific Northwest, Portland and Seattle, and we're seeing snow throughout the Rockies and the Northern Rockies and through the Cascade Mountain Range. We're going to zoom in on that area in just a moment here. So as we talk a little bit more about our big storm that's creating blizzard conditions across the plains. So Texas, we saw blizzard conditions in North Texas. So Amarillo, Lubbock, Texas, we saw blizzard conditions last night and this morning. We're seeing those blizzard conditions through Kansas and Oklahoma right now, through Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri. We're seeing those blizzard conditions out there across the plains. So again, a very significant winter storm is taking place. We're also seeing some mixed heavy snow, very heavy. We look at the dark blues. The darker blues, that's heavier snowfall. If you see pinks, that's freezing rain and sleet. That's ice accumulations right there. If you can see the pinks in there on this map on my excellent weather software that I'm using here. So again, a very, very dynamic storm. This is a very dangerous storm, and it's have far-reaching impacts from severe weather to with tornadoes and hail and damaging winds, heavy rain and floods, to blizzard conditions with winds up to 80 miles per hour, a foot of snow or more. So a very dangerous storm with it's got like two different sides to the storm, with the spring-like weather and the wintry weather on one side. So again, please folks, please be very, very careful out there today. If you're in any activities, or you're working, or you're a driver for your job, if you're a semi-truck driver, or you do DoorDash or Uber or Lyft, and you have to be out on the roads, please be very careful out there today, okay, folks? As I'm going to be here in the Weather Center. I'm going to be monitoring, and I'm going to make videos as the situation warrants, and depending on how bad things evolve or get, then we're going to have frequent videos to put out there today. Okay, guys? So we're going to keep you posted on what's going on as far as the weather. So now we're going to move on and take a look at what's going on across the Pacific Northwest and the Western U.S. Alright, so now we're in the Pacific Northwest and in the Rockies. This is the West Coast right here. It's a little bit dark because I think the visible satellite, the sun is just starting to come higher in the atmosphere, so the satellite is not picking up the light, all the light from the sun, because it's still kind of dark over the Pacific, so it's still fairly early in the morning. It's about maybe 8 or 9 in the morning or so across the West Coast. So here we are with that heavy rain along the here near Seattle and Portland. If I can see it on here, Portland is there, Seattle, Vancouver, Canada. We're also seeing that. There's Butte, Montana. So we're seeing that snow across the northern Rockies and the Utah here in Nevada. We're seeing that snow in northern. Here's the Cascade Mountain Range, where we're also seeing that very heavy snowfall. So we have where we're gonna see like 4, 5, 6 feet of snow through some parts of the Rockies, and that includes the Cascades as well. So we're going to see as much as 6 feet of snow with this current storm. So this is a colder storm, so we'll see if we get the severe weather outbreak when this storm dives down further to the south and taps into the moisture from the Gulf of Mexico and warmer air. So we'll see how all of that evolves, but I would anticipate another bout of severe weather down across the southern U.S. and the southeast, including the state of Florida. So that's a look at what's going on as far as the national radar is concerned. But let's move on to the rest of our maps and talk about the forecast for today and the next couple of days ahead. All right, thank you for joining me today, everybody. So as we saw, there's a lot of weather going on today. Lots of severe weather, lots of snow in some parts of the country through the Midwest and the plains. So a lot to deal with. So let's take a look at our other maps and the forecast that we're going to, so we can know what to expect as we head to the end of the day and into the days ahead. So here is the current live radar right now, and we are seeing those thunderstorms moving up off of the Gulf of Mexico, and that heavy rain and severe weather is extending all the way into the Appalachian Mountain Range and to the parts of the mid-Atlantic states. We're seeing those thunderstorms all the way from North Carolina and Virginia, extending down through South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, and out over the Gulf of Mexico. So even if you're out boating, there's still a lot to be aware of and to be careful, as we have a lot of marine advisories, small craft advisories. Rip currents is also going to be possible along the Gulf Coast and along the Atlantic as well, as we have a very active waters right now. So we're going to be seeing water spouts along the Gulf Coast. So water spouts are going to be likely, and numerous water spouts is to be expected along the Gulf Coast. We're seeing these boxes here are severe thunderstorm and tornado watches in effect right now. So all of these orange and yellow boxes are for severe thunderstorm and tornado watches currently in effect across the Eastern U.S. and the Southeast there. So a very active day with those severe thunderstorms. Here's your tornado watch for the Gulf Coast. This is going to be in effect until 2 o'clock this afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. Probably going to be expanded further eastward when we get later in the day today. It's about 10 in the morning or so on the East Coast here, or in the Central Time Zone is about 10 a.m. So we're seeing a tornado watch already in effect for the southeast down there, North Florida, parts of Alabama, and southwestern Georgia for the most part as well. We're seeing that tornado watch in effect along the Gulf Coast. So here is our forecast for severe thunderstorms today across the east. We have a marginal risk, a slight risk a possible for South Florida. We will see the likelihood of severe storms in Central Florida, that's around the Orlando area, but we will see a very likely scenario for severe thunderstorms for North Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and Eastern North Carolina up to Cape Hatteras. And so Raleigh and Wilmington, Charleston, Savannah, Gainesville, Jacksonville, all of these areas. Atlanta, you're going to be in the clear zone. The storms are just clearing your area now and should be to your east. They should be east of the Atlantic. You might just be dealing with some showers on the backside. Maybe you'll get to see some mamadas behind some of these thunderstorms on the backside of those anvils as these storms clear overhead. So maybe we can get some video of folks, if you see any mamadas with this line of thunderstorms moving across the east. I would love to see a video of the shelf cloud as it approaches as well. So I would like to see. There's an interesting thing about storms in this area. They tend to be more low base, so it's kind of hard to identify visually certain features in the storm because the base of the clouds is very low to the ground as compared to storms that occur over the Midwest or the Plain States. They tend to be more elevated storms. Their cloud bases tend to be higher up in the mid levels of the atmosphere, so it's easier to spot wall clouds or mesos or anything like that. It's easier to spot rear flank downdrafts and some of the features that's going on in the cloud structure of the storm structure. It's easier to identify across the plains than it is across the south because you have those forests, those mangrove forests in the south, and so it's much more dense vegetation, so it's harder to see up above all of that as opposed to the Midwest when you have more open space to identify different features in the cloud structure. Kind of let you know what's going on and what to expect. It's hard to identify wall clouds in this situation when it's also a lot of times thunderstorms here in the south, in the southeast, are often the tornadoes are rain wrapped, so you don't see the tornado. It's harder to see it because they're often shrouded in rain around the tornado, so that makes it even more dangerous because you can't visually see the tornado approach. So you have to be extra careful down across the south and in the southeast. So here is our tornado threat today across the southeast, where we're going to be seeing EF2 tornadoes possible or greater. So EF3, EF4, EF5 is going to be possible today with some of these tornadoes. We're going to have a hot spot here over north central Florida, southwestern Georgia, southeastern Alabama. So right here, and then again up here in the Carolinas, South Carolina and eastern North Carolina, where we could see an increased threat for stronger tornadoes today. Now, tornadoes are going to be possible anywhere in this shaded area, but you have a higher risk of large tornadoes in these two specific areas here, as those dynamics are going to be favorable for stronger tornadoes. So again, something to be aware of today and keep a watch out for that, because it's harder to spot them over the Eastern U.S. because of the nature of the storms and how they tend to be low base, because you often have more moisture to work with, because the storms pick up moisture off of the Atlantic and moisture off of the Gulf. And what happens is you have deeper moisture, you have higher with the cold air coming from the north, right? You have that cold air influx coming from the north. So you tend to have higher instability because now you have colder air pockets in the upper levels of the atmosphere, so your lapse rates are higher. So that's going to make for instances of large hail, damaging winds, and the tornado. So we're going to see, and you have a very strong area of low pressure. So we have already a counterclockwise circulation moving across the area with that area of low pressure. So it's creating a spin in the atmosphere. So that's going to help to enhance the tornado threat across the southeast. And this is when you get what's called a triple point, where you have three intersecting air masses that come together, which tends to enhance or elevate the risk for severe weather. And we have that scenario today across the southeastern U.S. Okay, so in the Northland we have wintry weather to talk about. We have winter storm warning across the upper Midwest and the western side of the Great Lakes. So from Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Chicago, all the way down into Kansas, today we have that wintry weather. We have winter storm warnings. The blizzard warning has expired. That was more further to the south through Oklahoma, Texas, western Kansas, Colorado, and northern New Mexico. But now that threat is over, but we do still have a winter storm where we could pick up at least 6 inches of rain, snow, not rain, but snow in the winter storm watch areas. The winter weather advisory, we could pick up to 5 inches of snow. So 5 inches of snow or less are going to be in the winter watch area, the winter weather advisory area, okay? Here is the snow still to come across the upper Midwest, and we're going to still see the potential for 5 to 8 inches of snow over southwestern Wisconsin, northwestern Illinois, eastern Iowa, so the Quad Cities, Madison, Wisconsin, Sterling, Rock Falls in Illinois. We're going to still see the higher threat for heavier snow. The snow is over for Minneapolis. You might pick up some snow flurries from another piece of energy coming across the northern plains. They might be a little bit of light snow, but I don't anticipate more than a trace from maybe some flurries to light snow tonight and early tomorrow across Minnesota and North Dakota and South Dakota. But that's going to be a separate feature from our storm that's departing to the east. That other piece of energy is a trough that's moving through across along the Canadian border with that piece of energy there. But that's not going to be anything significant or worry about too much, other than it might be making the roads a little bit slippery. But here we are as we have our larger area of snow to contend with here, but that's going to begin to diminish later today, and tomorrow we'll see that move mostly through the Ohio Valley and the parts of Canada. So Ottawa and not Vancouver, but Ottawa and the Ontario, Canada. Okay, so Ontario, that's where that snow is going to end up. We're going to see it mostly over western New York, western Pennsylvania, the Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, the interior and the higher elevation. This one's going to pack less snow than the last storm is. This storm is all about the severe weather and heavy rain more so than snow. Alright, so here is some of the winter weather alerts in the western part of the country right now. We're seeing a blizzard warning over parts of southern Idaho at this time, northern southern Idaho, and northern Nevada. And we have a blizzard warning over the Cascade Mountain Range today. So blizzard conditions in the Cascades and some parts of the northern Rockies. But we have a winter storm warning over northern Utah. So the Wasatch Mountain Range, Salt Lake City, Ogden, Weber Basin. You're just going to see winter storm warning for your area. Winter weather advisory in Colorado. So Aspen and Vail. Denver, you're going to be in the clear for the most part as far as advisories, but you still might pick up a few snowflakes. We'll see some heavy snow. We also have winter storm warning in place over the Sierra Nevada across northern California, the Sierra Nevada mountain range, and the areas where Mount Shasta, the Lassen volcanic area, those areas going to have winter storm conditions as well. So in the Pacific Northwest, check this out. Look at all the snow in the Cascade Mountain Range. Willamette, Squamish Pass, Stevens Pass. You guys are going to be dealing with a hell of a lot of snow. Up to 6 feet of snow, 6 to 8 feet of snow across the Cascade Mountain Range with this current storm system. Ridiculous. Just a whole lot of snow. Here's our next big boy that's going. Here's our current storm that's headed off towards northern Canada right now. It's going to take all of that heavy rain. Look at the rain. I mean, look at the rain versus the snow. I mean, a lot of heavy rain, but we're going to see snow come in on the backside of that low pressure center. When it lifts up into Canada, we're going to see that cold air begin to filter in. So areas that's seeing a lot of heavy rain right now is eventually going to see snow over the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic. And that's going to lead to the rainwater freezing. So we're going to see a little bit of freezing rain in that as well. We're looking at 40 to 50 miles per hour winds across the entire Northeast, the Great Lakes, and the upper Midwest as well. So those 40 to 50 miles an hour winds, but they will begin to die down as we head through time and into your day tomorrow. So a lot of blowing snow and high winds. So blowing snow and high winds to be expected across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. Here is that severe weather threat across the Southeast for today. Severe weather, Savannah, Wilmington, Atlanta, heavy rain and thunderstorms. Nashville, Tennessee will see showers today. Fort Smith, Arkansas will see showers, but we're going to see snow in Kansas City and in St. Louis. We're going to see some rain in Chicago before it changes over to snow. Pittsburgh, we're going to see rain before it changes over to snow. Syracuse, rain before it changes over the snow. But the snow will be coming on the backside before the storm comes to an end. So in many areas that see rain now, however, will see snow before the storm comes to a complete end. So for tomorrow, we're going to see snow in Pittsburgh. We're going to see snow in Charleston, or cloudy skies in West Virginia. But check out the 50 in Baltimore, 52 in New York City. No snow to be had in that. 40 degrees in Syracuse, and we're going to see 50 degrees in Portland and temperatures in the 50s in Boston as well. So a nice recovery in the temperatures department for the Northeast. So that's going to be pretty good for you guys. Again, that trio of storms, we're just dealing with storm after storm after storm coming out of the Pacific Northwest, over the Rockies, down through the plains. So what's going to happen now is this area of high pressure in Alaska, this big ridge of high pressure in Alaska is creating a flow across the axis of the ridge. That's going to make cold air come out of the Arctic Circle down through Canada and into the U.S. We're going to see that cold air filter over the top of this ridge of high pressure and dive down. We're going to see a weak jet stream. Here is the southern tropical jet that's going to be driving those storms into the Pacific, across the Pacific. This is what we're seeing as far as the storm track. So we're going to see that storm track. Those storms are going to dive, come into the Pacific Northwest, and dive to the south, the southern plains, before heading off the Atlantic or up the eastern seaboard. So that high pressure will develop. It's going to let that cold air, it's going to weaken that jet stream. We're going to see that cold air, because that cold air is heavy. So it's going to want to sag south. Because a weaker jet stream, a slower jet stream, is not going to keep it bottled up. The speed of the jet stream keeps the cold air bottled up in Canada. A weaker, slower jet stream, and that jet stream sagging further to the south, is going to allow that heavy cold air to drop. it's going to drop down through the U.S. So we're going to finally see a real blast of cold air, even though it may not last longer than a week, where we're going to get some bona fide, bone-chilling air. I mean, zeros and negative temperatures. But here's the thing. It's going to help to continue our snow drought. Because you ever heard the term too cold to snow? That's going to be it. Too cold to snow. So the snow will fall further to the south. Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma points to the east. But I don't expect anything up here across the north. Not much happening. And if it's going to get that cold, even less is going to happen. So again, too cold to snow is on this way. Our snow woes will continue here in the upper Midwest. So that's your weather forecast for now. My name is Mr. G. We'll probably have an update. Oh, look at that there. An update to the forecast later today. Thank you for watching me today. Leave your likes, comments, and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys all later. Maybe today, definitely tomorrow. Have a good day, and bye-bye.